here today to give you an example of why using models and consistent vocabulary with your students is so important. So we're actually going to start off today with multiplication and division. If you are a third or second grade teacher, you have probably shown your kids this. 3 times 4 equals 12. It's a little messy. Okay, so 3 times 4 equals 12. And hopefully you are showing them through models and repetition that the first number is your number of groups. So 3 groups. Oops, 3 groups. The times is like of. So 3 groups of 4, and this 4 is the number in each group. So this is something that the first time I saw it, that I was supposed to teach this way, didn't make any sense to me. It's not the way I was taught. I was taught the order of the factors doesn't matter, which is true. But for modeling, we really want kids to follow this. 3 groups of the number in each group gives you your total. The reason we want this is that it helps them draw it in a model. It helps them explain their thinking, and as we will see, this knowledge can be transferred across grade levels so they can use this when they're dealing with fractions. So this is our starting point, our foundation, that our second and third grade teachers are laying for our 4th, 5th, 6th, and so on teachers. So here's how we can use this information with fractions. Let's say I'm multiplying by a fraction by a whole number. So we'll say 4 times 1/5. Okay, there's several different ways that you could solve this. I'm guessing that most of you were taught the way I was taught. You turn 4 into 4 over 1, you multiply across, and you get your answer. It works, you get the right answer, but I didn't understand why. I didn't know if it made sense at all. I just followed the steps my teacher was given, which we now know, not a great way to teach math. We want our kids understanding and being able to explain what they're doing. So the way I would attack this is I would remind them, okay, this means 4 groups. This means of, and 1/5 is my number in each group. There. It's hard when it's backwards for me. Okay, so that's my number in each group. I can draw this. I'm going to start with my whole. I'm going to break it into 5 equal pieces. Okay? And I have 1/5 here, so that means that I'm going to have 4 of these. So here's 1 1/5 I'm coloring in, 2 1/5, 3 1/5, 4 1/5. And I get my answer is 4/5. Okay, I can do it that way. It gets a little bit harder when we're not multiplying by unit fractions, but we can still do it. Let's say I have 3 times 2/4. I follow the exact same steps. So I'm going to make my whole. I'm going to break it into fourths. Okay, sort of fourths. And now I'm going to color in 3 of them. So in this case, I have 2/4, so I color in 2 of them. That's 1 group. Color in another 2. That's 2 groups. Now I'm going to have to draw another hole because I'm not done. Color in my last group of 2/4. So 1 group, 2 groups, 3 groups. And what do I end up with? 6/4 or 1 2/4. So with this strong foundation, your students should be able to do this. No matter how big the number is, they should be able to reason out what it would look like in a picture. Okay, now we move to the next more complicated step, which is multiplying fractions times fractions. This is another thing that if you were like me, you could follow the steps, but you could not explain what you were doing, and you definitely couldn't draw a picture. So let's say I was told I need to multiply 1/3 times 1/4. So I would have 1/3, that's my groups of, and then 1/4 is the number in each group. trying to write fast but clear for you. It's hard for me to do both. Okay, so I'm going to start by drawing my whole. And in this case, my whole is broken up into fourths. Okay, so I've got, where is it? Fourths. Now, my group size is I'm going to have 1/3 of a whole as my group size. So up here, I had 3 of each 2/4, so 1, 2, 3. In this case, I have 1/3 of it, which is a little bit confusing. This might be a place where you might lose some kids, so you really want to talk it through with them. So I've got my fourths here. We'll say this 1/4. I'm going to shade it in really lightly. That's my number in each group. If I was multiplying by 2, I would color in 2 of them and get 2/4. But I'm multiplying by a number smaller than 1, and so this piece is going to get smaller, not bigger, when I multiply. That's another thing. It would be great if you didn't have to tell your kids that, if they could figure it out on their own. It's going to be so much more powerful and so much more memorable for them. Okay, so in order to find out how much smaller it gets, I need to break this into 3 equal pieces. And the piece, and it's hard to see but you can kind of see it, then only one of them I'm going to color in because it's 1/3. So this is my piece I really care about. Okay, in order to tell how big this is, how much of the whole it is, I need to divide all of my fraction into these little pieces. I'm sorry, all of my whole into these little pieces. So now I have 12 equal pieces, and the piece that I care about is just one of them. So that's 1/12. Okay, let's try it with bigger than unit fractions. So let's say 2/3 times 4/5. Okay, 2/3 times 4/5. Now, even today, if this is me, I look at it and I see, well, 2 times 4 equals 8, 3 times 5 equals 15. It's 8/15. But we don't want our students to do that. We want them to understand, be able to draw it, be able to explain it. So we're going to go through the steps. Draw our whole. I'm going to make it a little bit bigger just so I have more room to work with. I'm going to break it up into 5 equal pieces because the bottom of the fraction, it shows how many pieces there are. 1, 2, 3. Well, they're not exactly even at all. I struggle with that. And then, you know what? I'm going to grab a colored pencil. Oh no, kids have been getting in my stuff. Okay, I found a colored pencil. I'm going to color in 4 of the pieces. So this is kind of like my new whole. Okay? This is the size of the group. The size of the group is 4/5. Now, how many of the group are there? It's 2/3. So I have to divide it up because remember, when we're multiplying by a number less than 1, our pieces get smaller, not bigger. So I've divided it into 2/3. I'm sorry, I've divided it into 3 equal pieces. I'm going to color in 2 of those pieces. There's one piece, and there's my other piece. Okay, now again, to make sure that I'm counting the total number of pieces, I'm going to extend my thirds to include the part of the whole that wasn't colored in. And now you see I have 15 total pieces. So that's my denominator. And how many of them are colored in? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I really hope this was helpful for you to see the bridge that exists between 3rd grade multiplication and division and 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th grade fractions. If you see this connection, you will be able to guide your students to it and help them understand, help them do mathematical thinking. I really hope this was helpful for you. If you want more math ideas and other ideas, please follow my website, myrainyDayCreations.com. There's lots of stuff on there that you can read. And thank you so much. Have a great day.